President Rippich, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, and guests, good morning. I'm humbled and I'm honored to be here today in the company of such an eclectic grouping of women that have had such a positive impact on the state of Maine. And I wish to extend a sincere thank you to the Deborah Morton Society Nominating Committee and specifically to former inductees Patricia Collins and Chris Duty for considering my nomination. I also wish to congratulate my fellow inductees on their career successes. We inductees have been asked, as you see, to provide some brief remarks today. And since part of our job is now to mentor young women as they enter their respective careers, I thought I would refrain from sharing with you highlights of my career and instead share what I feel the tools that young people need to be successful. If our role is to be mentors, and we're going to teach you, young people, how to become a viable part of the workforce and to play an integral role in shaping the future of your world, we need to give you the tools and the role modeling so you can be successful. As you approach retirement, reflect on your life quite a bit. So when I realized I would be speaking here today, I tried to focus my thoughts on what actually has been important to me throughout my career. So I ask that you bear with me for these 4.5 minutes. First and foremost, I believe you have to have a passion for what you do. To me, it was never about monetary remuneration, a word I can never say. It was about waking up every day and wanting to go to work. Confucius once said, if you have a job you love, you will never work a day in your life. I was extremely fortunate. I never, ever woke up and didn't want to go to work. Were there challenging times? Absolutely. But when you have a passion for what you do, you meet those challenges head on and you move forward. And speaking of challenging times, many times in our careers we're faced with difficult decisions. During my career, one mantra I lived by and shared with my staff was that in matters of principle, lead with your conscience, not the crowd. That's difficult in today's world. Social pressures sometimes cloud our judgment, but we need to understand that it isn't about who agrees or disagrees with us. It's about knowing in the end that we made the right decision. And sometimes we question our decisions, but understand, as young people, life is a dynamic. It's a continuum where we evaluate everything that we do, which brings me to the value of experience. And I'm happy to know that Lori and I share common reading because we all heard about Malcolm Gladwell earlier. And he defines that 10,000-hour rule. And he does note that by practicing a skill for 10,000 hours, you become relatively proficient. Thomas Edison, story or not, remarked that each time he tried to invent the light bulb, all 10,000 times, he didn't look at it as a failure. He simply looked at it as a way that didn't work. Experience is defined as our ability to recognize our mistakes. And after 40 years, suffice it to say, I have a lot of experience. But I tell you, don't be afraid to be bold. Don't be afraid to think outside the box and let experience and knowledge be your guide. Many times we are faced with situations where we need to collaborate. Don't we love that word? To reach a goal. And oftentimes it's difficult to build those relationships needed due to differences in philosophies or principles. I revert to Doris Kearns Goodwin's publication, Team of Rivals, The Political Genius of Abraham Lincoln. Wonderful book. It's centered on Lincoln's mastery of molding together diametrically opposed personalities and how it shaped one of the most significant presidencies in our history. In the book, there's an excerpt from Joseph Medill, then editor of the Chicago Tribune. He asked Lincoln why he made the appointments of his rivals, Seward, Chase, Bates, and Cameron, to his cabinet, to which Lincoln replied, We needed the strongest men of the party in the cabinet. Okay, I'm going back in those days, ladies. It was, we needed the strongest men of the party in the cabinet. They were strongest, and I had no right to deprive the country of their services. As community and corporate leaders, we need to realize that it isn't totally about our individual goal or goals. It's about combining our strengths and our weaknesses to achieve a common goal. Lastly, and probably most important tool to me, is having character and integrity. In a publication entitled Translating Beliefs into Behavior, simply stated, character is who you are when no one else is watching. In the publication, they provide us a wonderful explanation of defining personal character. Basically, they describe our character as being shown by the jokes we choose to share and not to share, the derogatory terms we choose to use and refuse to use, the promises we choose to break and the ones we keep, the rumors we choose to spread and those we ignore, the resources we choose to waste and those we use wisely, the lies we choose to tell and not to tell, the responsibility we choose to accept and those that we shirk, the courtesies we choose to extend and fail to extend, the efforts we choose to put forth and not put forth, the quality we choose to provide and the corners we cut, the information we choose to share and that which we hoard, the listening we choose to do and not to do, the respect we choose to give and that we fail to give, and the helpful hands we choose to extend and those we keep in our pockets. In closing, there is a diverse grouping of educational backgrounds in our audience today, but I urge you to keep in mind that training and education will not always determine your success. As Malcolm Gladwell showed, your success is a combination of culture, family, generation, and experience, and if you're a Canadian hockey player, the date you were born. But more important, I believe your success is going to be contingent on your passion, your principles, and more important, your character. One of my favorite quotes is, we all have an end to journey towards, but it is the journey that matters in the end. I have had a wonderful journey. I wish the same for each and everyone here today. Thank you.